So now we ask the question about whether you, people watching today, taxpayers in this country, should be alarmed about the boom in lobbying or not. Well, here to discuss, Dave Wenhold, president of the American League of Lobbyists. He says lobbyists have a role to play. Steve Ellis is with us, vice president of Taxpayers for Common Sense, feels differently about it. Okay, so good to have both of you with us. Dave, let me let you make the case first for why, when we hear numbers like the numbers we have, is that we're going to have a record this year of up to $4 billion in money spent on lobbying, and there's been analysis done that has shown that a company that spends money on lobbying pays less in taxes. I mean, it certainly helps benefit at least that individual company. Why this is good? Why this should be part of the democratic process?
Well, don't forget, the right to petition the government is a First Amendment right. You know, the lobbying profession is very important to not only companies but also nonprofits, colleges and universities. As you guys were saying before, it's very interesting that Congress has the finances, energy and commerce, all these different bills before them. That's where you're seeing the spending going. Right. It's very important. It's very, very important to make sure that you have a voice here in Washington, because Congress deals with about 5,000 bills every cycle. They can't be experts on this stuff. That's why you hire a lobbyist who is an expert in that area. And
Steve, he has a fair point, but I know the New York Times had done analysis of the health care bill, for example, and well, it turned out that a lot of the language in it was identical to what some biotech company lobbyists had submitted. So maybe the legislators didn't understand everything, but the companies sure as heck got exactly what they wanted.
Well, certainly. I mean, this is an altruism. I mean, they're there to get a piece of the pie, and they're there to make sure that their interests are not only represented but well taken care of. And when you're looking at enormous budget deficit, I mean, clearly some of the spending is being directed to some of these companies, and they're trying to gain access and leverage through not only their lobbying but then also through campaign contributions to gain greater access for these lobbyists.
Well, and Dave, let me just, I know I'm sort of joking here, but you're a lobbyist for a lobbyist, right?
I am the lobbyist for the lobbyists.
We got second derivative lobbyists now. I mean, I'm simply just making a point of it does seem crazy that the industry seems to grow so quickly, especially when money is becoming scarcer during an economic crisis.
Well, I think if you look at the reason for the increase in lobbying is that the government is getting so big, and it's tougher to navigate the waters of Washington. If you don't have somebody here watching everything that the government's doing, I've always said that the government's doing something to you or for you every day, and you better be paying attention. And if you can't, you hire somebody to pay attention for you.
Okay, so let me put this question to you, Dave, and then get Steve's reaction. If we look at the top industries for lobbying so far this year, pharma and health products are right on that list. And what they were arguing for was to, well, in essence, keep pricing power, right? Which is something that is in their interest, but maybe not in the interest of average Americans who have to go to the doctor.
Well, I guess it depends on your side. I mean, it's very easy to say there's one special interest, but in most cases it's a public interest, and the pharmaceutical companies have a right to petition the government. They are probably under a tremendous amount of regulations, and they want to make sure that they are still viable so that grandma and grandpa can still get their medications.
Steve, what's your response to this? I mean, clearly, not only is there a right in the Constitution to petition your government, but you're not. You know, I think Dave has a point. The government's doing something for or against you every minute of the day. You want to say, but how do we deal with the fact that big companies are going to have more of a say because they have more money than individuals?
Well, certainly grandma and grandpa are going to be outgunned and outmanned every day. I mean, at the pharmaceutical industries or the defense sector. In your next segment, you're talking about the Navy needing more ships, and so you're going to have the Lockheed Martin.
Is supposedly speaking for grandma and grandpa, right, in spending?
Well, yeah, it's sort of, you know, we certainly believe that I'm actually a lobbyist. I'm not here to vilify lobbyists, but I am talking about the public interest and concerns about how much money is sloshing around Washington in the influence industry, and how, as government is getting bigger, it's not just what they're doing to you, it's that people want to take their piece of the pie. The companies and the corporations are trying to make sure that they are getting whatever government does, it benefits their bottom line or doesn't inhibit their bottom line, and a lot of times taxpayers are getting squeezed.
All right, well, gentlemen, thanks very much. Dave and Steve, I wonder if they had lobbyists in Shakespeare's day, what he would say. Anyway, thanks, guys. We appreciate it. Thanks for being good sports.